This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. And explore rational versus irrational definitions of enlightenment, followed by group meditation and chanting. Those of us who enjoy literature, whether consuming it or composing it or both, are familiar with the term of the untrustworthy narrator. A wonderful example of this would be Kevin Spacey's character in The Usual Suspects. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. Late-stage capitalism has conditioned us as a human society to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. The proto-communism of the distant past. We're going more than 290,000 years in the past. He helped us to evolve, to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, that 90% of us, including meditation teachers, are not only still stuck in Yang's religious patriarchy, but we think it's pretty awesome. These are the guys who either A, are so elitist that they use definitions for meditation that are irrational and unattainable and contrary to the Buddha's teachings, that they might better exert control over their minions. Those who do not do this directly do it indirectly by failing to critically question the veracity of the teachings they have received. In the second to the final passage, the penultimate passage of the Buddha's discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, the Satipatthana Sutta, he explained that one could master the Buddha's path in as little as 7 days. That takes elitism and turns it on its head. The Buddha was not elitist, he was egalitarian. He was the meditation teacher for the common person. We now have to wonder, what was the Buddha's definition? You see, so many people prance about the countryside insisting that if someone was fully enlightened, well, they could only perceive certain things, they could only emote certain things, they could only intend certain things, they could only think certain things, they could only remember certain things, they could only imagine certain things. But the Buddha taught the opposite, that we are to be completely vulnerable to perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. To all of them, be they external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. That we allow ourselves to feel and experience the full spectrum of human experience. Forgive my redundant choice of wording. If that's the case, then what is the enlightenment that the Buddha offers us? Buddha offers us liberation not from the presence of painful or turbulent perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, or imaginings. No, He offers us liberation not from their presence, but from their tyranny. That's huge. The more we master the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the more our choices and our utterances and our deeds flow not from contrived calculation, not from wild scatteredness, but from love's deeply centered spontaneity. What if enlightenment was nothing more or less than mastering the Buddha's Eightfold Path, getting so good at the eight tools in the Buddha's tool chest that we practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. As toddlers and as wee children, we were faced with the seemingly insurmountable tasks of learning to use the toilet instead of our diapers, learning how to brush our teeth, learning how to tie our shoes, learning how to ride a bike. And each of these, in their own way, provided with us a challenge that sometimes drove us to tears. And yet, in a very relatively short period of time, we got so good at using the toilet, brushing our teeth, tying our shoes, riding a bike, that we could do those things spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. Complex life forms on this planet have evolved to be mastery machines. We are wired to master skills. I type much faster now at age 60 than I did at age 18 because though brain damaged I might be, I was able to relatively master the skills of touch typing. We can master the Buddha's techniques of mindfulness and meditation. Quick rule of thumb. Every time we feel air enter our nostrils, we could silently and mentally recite the verb watch, and thus cooperate with the sympathetic nervous system that is the key to mindfulness. Every time we feel breath leave our nostrils, we could silently and mentally recite the verb rest, and thus cooperate with the parasympathetic nervous system that is integral to the meditation, wherein we rest in the non-graspable nature of that which we noticed during our previous inhalation. So potent are the practices of watching mind's antics and resting in its non-graspable nature, that by simply playing with these authentically, consistently, at least once every 12 hours or so, in a remarkably short period of time, we can find ourselves spontaneously enhancing our experience of impermanence and non-graspability. We can find ourselves spontaneously experiencing greater loving intention, greater loving communication. I should say we can find ourselves spontaneously practicing greater kind intention, greater kind communication, greater kind conduct, greater kind commerce. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, we can find ourselves spontaneously experiencing the effortless effort that some call wu wei, that some call going with the flow, that some call expedient means. This is and when we can get so good at this that we don't have to fret about it. We don't fret, we don't brace ourselves to floss our teeth. We don't brace ourselves to lace up our walking shoes. We do these effortlessly. The Enlightenment Buddha offers us is the effortless practice of the eightfold essence of his path. Path whose key is simply watching and resting in harmony with our inhalations and our exhalations. And now for an additional moment of housekeeping. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For meditating like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers, just like you.